Do you feel fragile? Does it feel like your mental energy is constantly divided, swinging between distraction and guilt? It's a problem, I know. You want to build something great, but your mind is constantly being sabotaged by boredom, worry, and the opinions of others. Most modern masters would tell you to fight these thoughts, but I'm going to teach you Miyamoto Musashi's secret. Absolute calm isn't something you fight to have. It's something you separate. Here's the big controversy. Your mind is not your enemy. It's a double-edged sword. If you stop using it to rehash problems and start treating it as a command post, you can achieve the indestructible mind in no time. What you lack isn't motivation, but the samurai code of Musashi for mental separation. In this video, you'll discover why a divided mind is the price you pay for a lack of focus, and how to implement the hidden power of 10 seconds of silence to annihilate self-sabotage before it even begins. This is a war manual for your internal focus. You'll learn how to build a shield against outside opinions and forge the character that will allow you to return to the path of the calm mind under any pressure. You got to admit, you felt like you're fighting a war with yourself, haven't you? It's that feeling where one part of you wants to sit down and do the deep work, write the book, build the business, but another part just keeps pulling you toward distraction, procrastination, and self-doubt. That, my friend, is the price of living with a divided mind. You're constantly burning energy in internal negotiation, and the result is a life lived in a fragile state, far from the ideal of an indestructible mind. This internal division is exactly what prevents people from ever achieving true mastery. Your body is at the desk, but your mind is scrolling through social media or worrying about an argument from last week. You try to wield your focus, but it feels heavy and unwieldy, like a rusty sword. The issue isn't a lack of talent or resources. It's a lack of internal alignment. You are trying to fight the world before you've won the war inside your own head. A samurai knows that a divided mind leads to a slow death on the battlefield. When you hesitate, you lose. And in your life, hesitation costs you opportunities, time, and potential. We waste so much effort trying to force our hands to work when, in reality, the root of the problem is a fragile mind, constantly distracted and pulled in multiple directions. But if the problem is this internal division, what is the master's first step to achieving true focus? If living with a divided mind is the source of your weakness, Miyamoto Musashi's solution is a shock. You need to separate the body and soul. He wasn't talking about something mystical, but a practical concept of focus and presence. He taught that on the battlefield, the samurai's body must be completely immersed in the fight. Reflexes, strength, and precision acting without hesitation. But the soul, or the deeper mind, must remain calm, detached, and observing. Like a spectator on a mountaintop, most of us do the opposite. Our body is still, but our mind is in the battle of distractions, jumping from worry to worry. Musashi flips this. When you are working, your body and your active mind must be fully engaged in the task. The strike, the writing, the meeting. But there is a part of you that must always be observing without judgment the thoughts of self-sabotage and fear that arise. This principle of separation is the key to building an indestructible mind. It's not about feeling calm, but about practicing detachment. It's like learning to surf. The body needs to move with the wave, but the mind needs to be focused on the horizon without panic. By practicing this separation, you ensure that volatile emotions do not control your actions. But what happens when you use this detached mind as your main tool? The mind, when untrained, is a dangerous weapon that turns against you. Miyamoto Musashi saw the mind not just as a center for thought, but as a double-edged sword. If you train it with discipline and focus, it becomes your sharpest tool for cutting through confusion and defeating the enemy. But if you neglect it, it becomes your greatest threat, slicing away at your confidence and sabotaging your progress. The goal of an indestructible mind is not to be invulnerable to fear, but to be able to act in spite of it. The way most people use their minds today is totally reactive. They spend time ruminating on the past, cutting their own confidence with remorse, or fantasizing about the future with anxiety, cutting their own action with fear. A samurai cannot afford this luxury. His mind must be fully present in the now, in the strike being delivered. Your mind isn't a couch for emotional outbursts. It's a command post for precise action. To transform this double-edged sword into your greatest ally, you need very clear codes of conduct. That's why Miyamoto Musashi formalized his path into principles. One such principle is accept everything just the way it is, which is the perfect antidote to rumination. By accepting the status quo without emotional attachment, you stop wasting mental energy. But how can you build a shield to protect this mind from the external influences that make it fragile? One of the biggest thieves of mental peace is the need for approval. We live in a society addicted to external validation, where your worth seems to be determined by what others think or like about you. This is pure poison for anyone seeking an indestructible mind. The samurai knows that if your happiness or your plan depends on outside opinion, you will never be truly free. You will be a slave to the fluctuations of others' moods and judgments. For Miyamoto Musashi, your focus shouldn't be on the applause of the crowd, but on the perfection of your strike. The samurai doesn't fight to be popular, he fights to be effective. The shield against outside opinion is, in fact, an internal code of conduct, a non-negotiable personal philosophy. You need to sit down and define, what are my 3 to 5 life principles that I will not break for anything, not even for fear of being criticized. When you have a strong code, external criticism just becomes noise. It has nowhere to anchor itself in your mind. Musashi talked about not regretting what you have done, a concept that frees you from the need to justify your actions. You do what is right for your path. But to protect that code, you need a daily tool that calms the internal chaos before it turns into a storm. What's the simplest practice for that? Most people think that to calm the mind, they need an hour of complex meditation, but that's just another excuse not to start. The secret to building an indestructible mind lies in immediate, accessible practice. I call this the hidden power of 10 seconds of silence. When internal chaos or doubt hits you, that voice that says, "You're not good enough," you need to stop. Don't fight the thought. Just stop and observe it in complete silence for 10 seconds. This 10-second practice is your mental micro-dojo. It's the moment you apply Miyamoto Musashi's principle of separating the body and soul. Your body remains on task, but your deeper mind pulls away from the volatile emotion and the impulse to react or get distracted. In those 10 seconds, you disarm the self-sabotage bomb, preventing a momentary emotion from turning into a catastrophic decision. Think of it as the time a samurai takes to breathe before a decisive strike. He doesn't react, he chooses the action. The power isn't in the duration, but in the interruption. By taking those 10 seconds of silence, just stop, close your eyes if you can, and breathe, you reclaim control over your attention. This builds the discipline muscle you need to start paying the real price of mental mastery. But what is that price? And why do most people give up before reaching it? Most of us want the reward of the indestructible mind, the clarity, the focus, and the success, but few are willing to pay the price. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the price of discomfort, which is the true teaching of masters like Miyamoto Musashi and even modern philosophers like Napoleon Hill. Yes, truths meet across all ages. The price of mental mastery is the willingness to sit with the boredom and headache that arise when you try to force your mind to do something difficult, when you're trying to build a new habit like reading a technical book for 30 minutes instead of checking your phone. Your mind, addicted to dopamine, screams with boredom. This pain, this discomfort is your toll. The amateur gives up and returns to distraction. The samurai accepts the pain as a sign that he is on the right path, applying discipline to ignore the clamor for instant gratification. The secret here is permanence. It's not about how good you are on day 1, but how persistent you are on day 50. If you want, for example, to write a 2,000-word article, don't start with the most fun part. Start with the tedious research, the text outline. Pay the price first. It's this resistance to the desire to escape that builds your indestructible mind. But how do you ensure that this resistance isn't just a momentary effort? Self-sabotage isn't a single event. It's a silent war of attrition. And the only defense against it is eternal vigilance. You can't afford to think, great, I'm disciplined, I can relax. For a samurai like Miyamoto Musashi, vigilance didn't end with victory. It intensified because success brings complacency. Self-sabotage hides precisely on those days when you feel most confident, whispering, "You deserve a bigger break today." This vigilance is what separates the master from the good student. The student, after a productive day, rewards himself with hours of distraction. The master rewards himself by maintaining the ritual, perhaps reducing the intensity, but never breaking the chain. The practice here is the sentinel principle. Imagine there is a silent sentinel in your mind, whose only job is to identify the first thought of escape or excuse. When the sentinel identifies self-sabotage, just 5 more minutes in bed, I'll eat this, no one will know. Your job is to immediately apply the hidden power of 10 seconds of silence we learned. Don't fight it, just observe the excuse and return to action. It's this constant attention, this daily micro-adjustment that forges your indestructible mind. But where, after all, does this constant battle take place? If you're looking for your next great enemy, stop looking outside. The true battlefield of a samurai isn't the physical duel, but the space between your left ear and your right. Miyamoto Musashi taught that victory or defeat is decided in your mind long before the swords cross. External chaos is merely a reflection of your internal chaos. It is within you that the indestructible mind is forged or destroyed. The internal battlefield is where laziness disguised as deserved rest attacks, where outside criticism turns into your internal voice of doubt, and where procrastination justifies itself as precision. The discipline you practice isn't training for work. It's training for the war that happens every second in your head. If you lose control for 10 seconds to distraction, you've already lost the battle of that moment. To win this war, you need a clear mapping of the terrain. Identify your self-sabotage hotspots. Is it the bed in the morning? Is it lunchtime with your phone? Is it the last hour of work? By knowing the terrain, you can position your eternal vigilance to strike first. Mastery isn't living without destructive thoughts, but having the indestructible mind to ignore them and return to your mission. And when this internal war ends, what is left? After all the struggle, confronting self-sabotage, and winning the internal battles, the warrior finds not rest, but peace. This is the return to the path of the calm mind. The samurai's calm is not the absence of storms, but stability in the eye of the hurricane. You've discovered that the indestructible mind is not one that never hesitates, but one that knows how to quickly return to its state of equilibrium, applying Miyamoto Musashi's discipline of detachment and observation. The mistake of many is thinking that mastery is a permanent state. It's not. It's the ability to return to the center time after time. The eternal vigilance you practiced in level 7 now becomes a reflex, a type of mental muscle memory. Your body and your active mind may feel stress, but your soul, the calm observer, remains on the mountain, refusing to be dragged down by the mud of volatile emotions. To solidify this, you need a return ritual. Whenever you notice you've lost focus or patience, instead of punishing yourself, return to the hidden power of 10 seconds of silence. Pause, breathe. This reinforces the path of calm. It is in this constancy of return that you become invincible. And that invincibility transforms into something greater than yourself. We've arrived at the crucial point, the immortality of your invisible discipline. The true victory of a samurai is not public recognition or material wealth. It's the person he became in secret through unwavering discipline. The legacy of Miyamoto Musashi lies not just in his legendary duels, but in his indestructible mind, the calm and focus he cultivated when no one was watching. This is your immortality, the character forged in the furnace of silent persistence. Your indestructible mind is an asset no one can take away. It is invisible to social media, but evident in your ability to remain calm under pressure, to make clear decisions, and to return to the path of the calm mind after a failure. This invisible legacy is what truly defines you. It is the reflection of your eternal vigilance against self-sabotage, the accumulation of all those 10 seconds of silence you conquered. The warrior's path has no end, but it has an eternal reward, the peace of knowing you honored your potential. Mastery isn't a destination, but a daily reflection of your commitment to separate the body and soul, maintaining serenity in the midst of chaos. Your mission now is to embody this indestructible mind in every act, great or small. You've absorbed the essence of the indestructible mind, the code of a samurai who lived in total coherence, Miyamoto Musashi. You've seen that absolute calm isn't a gift, but a daily choice, forged in eternal vigilance against your own mind. It's not about being invincible, but about becoming the master of the art of returning to the path of the calm mind, using your 10 seconds of silence as an unbreakable reflex. Now, the crucial question isn't what you learned, but what you are going to change. What is sabotaging your life at this exact moment? Is it the fear of criticism, the shield against outside opinion, or is it your inability to separate the body and soul, the divided mind, when the task becomes boring? It would be an insult to Miyamoto Musashi's legacy for you to close this video and go back to being the same. What is your first act of discipline that will signal to your brain that the internal war is over and you've assumed the command post? Leave a comment and make an oath to yourself. I will implement the 10 seconds of silence today. If you're serious about forging your indestructible mind, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The warrior's journey is eternal, and we will walk it together.